Hello, everyone, and welcome to Engaging and Working with a Diverse Group of Youth Volunteers. My name is Deranis Grujon, and I'm the Program Coordinator for Clubs. Today, we have a very special guest, and that is our intern, and her name is
Jenna Bird. Hi. Just a fun fact, I'm a triplet.
Awesome. And also, we have our Program Manager, and
my name is Roella Ramos, and my fun fact is I sold books door to door one summer during college and raised $13,000 in profit.
She's a good entrepreneur. My fun fact is my name actually it sounds similar to the character from the Game of Thrones. If you know the series, you'll know what I'm talking about. So today is a very special webinar as this is based on your feedback on the annual survey and also from your feedback on our Facebook poll. So just let's dive in and see what we have for today. So today we just want to have a brief participant survey to learn more about you and your service projects. Then we have a quick question for you to get you thinking about this webinar. And then we're going to dive into generationOn's approach about engagement, which includes recruitment, commitment, and project management. So we have a very nice agenda for you all today. So let's just dive in. On your chat box, please answer the following questions. Where are you? And what projects do you have planned for the holiday season? Or also you can let us know that you don't have anything planned yet, but you're looking into it, and if you need help, we are more than happy to troubleshoot after this webinar. We can schedule a call, or through emails we can help you to start it.
Yeah, so you can put your answers in, I think it actually looks like a question box. So you can enter your where you're from, your city and state, as well as your project. And for us, what we're doing in the holiday season, Jenna, do you want to share what the office is doing?
Sure. The office is going to go to an animal shelter up in Harlem, and we're going to help socialize all the kittens and cats and the dogs and the puppies and take some pictures. That way people can see all the animals that they have, so they can get adopted.
Thanks. So one of the things that I like to do, my mom actually started this, is during holidays that generally most people have off, like Christmas and New Year's, but the fire department and the police station generally are on duty still. My mom started the tradition where she makes food for them and brings them to the firehouse or the police station. So that's what I'll be doing this holiday season.
Nice, Roella and Jenna. On my end, I'm working in conjunction with the Center for Caribbean Culture in Harlem, and we will be facilitating a self-care workshop.
Great, and we see Courtney. She said that she is from Florida. Welcome to our webinar, and she will be doing food drives, feeding the homeless, and some other projects that they're still planning. Great. We hope to see them on the service tracker.
Yes, please.
All right. Please continue to share. We'll make sure to read these out throughout the session, but we're going to keep this webinar moving.
Awesome.
All right. So quick question. What would you say is the #1 reason for kids and youth to participate in service projects? So again, if you could quickly just type your answer in the question box. We would love to hear your thoughts about this. This is really going to be part of the framework for this webinar. Jenna, what do you think is the #1 reason kids participate in service projects?
I would think it would be they want to make new friends.
Make new friends?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Great. Is that how you made new friends when you were?
I did.
Oh, great. Tyronis, what about you?
Also, some of the youth, they're looking to learn new skills.
New skills? Great. Awesome. And one of the reasons why I like volunteering is if I'm going to do something anyway, such as running, I'm going to volunteer my time and support other people who need assistance during that activity. So what I do is I guide visually impaired runners around their workouts in Central Park. So if I'm going to run in Central Park, why not run with people who need a little help getting around?
Yep.
Anybody? Anybody else? Anybody else? No? Okay, no worries. So,
check this. Oh, sorry.
Check the
chat box, the one that opens up. Oh, okay.
Nope, I don't think anybody else answered. Great, no worries. All right, so just a couple of reasons why people love to volunteer is obviously they want to make a difference. As Jenna had mentioned, make new friends. As Jairana said, learn new skills. So, for example, there's a lot of collaboration and teamwork that you're developing as you're working with your peers and community partners. You're also working on your critical thinking skills as you're learning how to address different issues. And for me, I want to use what I'm already doing to give back to the community. So these are really great reasons why youth and teens get involved in service, and as a result, service attracts a lot of different types of kids and teens. So this is one of the reasons why we polled everyone to ask them what are some of the challenges and obstacles they have with working with a diverse group of people. We got a lot of different responses, and we are going to be talking about how to troubleshoot these things with these three buckets. So we're going to talk about recruitment, commitment, project management, and how all of this relates to ensuring strong engagement with the group that you're working with. So the first one is recruitment. So recruitment is really where you start with your diversity. And what does diversity mean? Most people might think that diversity is just cultural backgrounds, but diversity in a predominantly Caucasian or predominantly Black club can look like a lot of different things. It could be different age and grade levels. It could look like different abilities, so people that have skills talking and speaking with adults, and it could also look like people who are more creative and really great at making flyers, and it could also be those who really appreciate operations and processes and can really take the charge in leading all of the planning. It can also look like different identities. So it could be inclusive of gender nonconforming identities and, again, cultural identities. It's also important to be inclusive and mindful of having people with different social economic backgrounds, different worldviews, and service is really attractive to those who are strong in the academics, but it's also really important to recruit and involve those who are maybe struggling with academics. We've seen time and time again from club facilitators that those who were performing lower academically, had poor attendance, didn't raise their hand as often, really started to turn around as they became involved in their service club. So these are all really important things when talking about a diverse club and club composition. And also, service club can definitely be used as a way to teach others about diversity. We shared in our last webinar an activity called Diversity Buttons. And diversity buttons, basically, you have a group of buttons that you're going to try to categorize to separate them into smaller subcategories. So you can divide buttons by color, size, material, the number of holes they have, etc., etc. And then we ask in this activity how you use those different categories and apply them to people. So size can obviously be body shape, color can be color of skin, number of holes can relate to what you have versus what you don't have. And in the end, this is all talking about how buttons have one function, and it's to close something, keep something together. And human beings also have similar functions. They can all vary, but they all work towards the same things, but have different characteristics that make them different and unique. So again, we just want to talk about diversity in the forefront, what this looks like, what we hope that you're intentional about creating in the composition of your club, and also using this as a space to talk about and support the learning of what diversity means. And we just also wanted to talk about different recruitment strategies when you're getting together your club. So first off, make sure you identify your target audience, so making sure that you are very mindful of the current composition of your club and be intentional about reaching out to people who have different views, different skills, different backgrounds, and things like that. We also suggest you plan a recruitment event. That's one idea we were thinking about, getting the word out there, using your club members to help spread the word. And as you're spreading the word, make sure you promote the different benefits of participating in your club. So different age groups have different interests and would like different sort of benefits when it comes to your service club. So for example, those who are just interested in completing their community service requirements for graduation might be interested in the fact that you can complete all of those hours within your club. Others who might be more altruistic might just be interested in opportunities to give back. So making sure that you highlight all of these as you are spreading the word and recruiting people is very important. Lastly, making sure that you leverage the people of authority. A lot of you all are in schools, so making sure that, whenever you get a message from your principal, those are the types of emails you always want to open and make sure you thoroughly read. So definitely take advantage of those people when you want to spread the message about what you're all about, what your club is all about, what you plan on doing, and that you're looking for new members. Do you two have any specific creative strategies that you think would be helpful in recruiting new members?
So I remember when I was back in school, the club that I was part of, they actually came to me and they offered if I wanted to join. And I thought the reason was because I usually used to sit in the lounge by myself, and they literally came to me and they shared the ideas and the purpose of the club, and I found that very helpful. So I like to encourage facilitators to share with their kids and youth of like whenever they see kids in the lunchroom or in the classroom being isolated or not talking a lot, to approach them and offer the club activities and the service project to get engaged, not only with their school, but also to make new friends.
And I would suggest maybe posting to social media all the pictures you take at your service events, or make posters that you can put around your school. That way people know about all the exciting things you're doing.
Yeah, and then so I was a cheerleader in high school, and one of the ways that I found out about the cheer team was they always wore their uniforms to school during sport days. So our school wasn't heavily focused on the sports by any means, so I wouldn't have known that they existed unless they were in their uniforms. So to get people to know that your service clubs exist, you can definitely have all of your club members wear the same t-shirt. If you don't have the funding to wear the same t-shirt, wear the same colors during your service events or when you're doing things at school, just so people can visually see that you all exist and be more interested in learning about what you are all about. Sarah also just recently joined us. She is the Senior Director of Clubs, Campaigns, and Days of Service. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have any recruitment ideas you'd like to share?
I will piggyback off of Jenna's and just say I think celebrating the impact and recognizing what the club has already done is a great way to get other kids excited about getting involved. If they see the teacher or somebody, the principal, shouting out the club members for doing awesome work, other kids might be excited about getting involved.
Great. Thank you. All right, so that covers our first bucket, recruitment, making sure you get very diverse, and again, diverse is different abilities, different learning styles, different personalities, different backgrounds, a part of your club. So you can make sure that you are utilizing a lot of different voices in the projects that you're creating to be most impactful to the community that you're serving.
Thank you, Roella, for going over the recruitment portion. So now we're going to focus on the commitment part. And I just want to share with you a poll that we took on Facebook from our facilitators, and we asked them, what are the main challenges that you face working with a diverse group of youth volunteers? And the response was lack of time, as they have different competing priorities, too many cooks in the kitchen, keeping people motivated, and also the lack of commitment and consistency in participation. So as an approach to these issues, generationOn, we want to go over how to work with time commitment, how to create team building, how to create a safe space, and also how to have parental support as an approach to improve or solve these issues within your club. So let's dive into it. So first, let's discuss time commitment and team building. So the first thing that we like to recommend is to be upfront about expectations and time commitment. When you're recruiting your club members, or even within the people you already have on your club, it's always good to tell them, we meet once a month. Or for example, if you're working on a project, we need you to come to the club meetings maybe twice a week. So you already been upfront of what you need in terms of time, but also if they are able to give you that time and they can play that out with their own schedules. Also emphasize the importance of consistency. Make them feel important, because if they're not attending the meetings, they might miss information. Maybe a task might not get completed. So it's very important to emphasize consistency as part of honoring the project and also what they have to give in terms of having the project completed. Also, one approach to time commitment is an example of having an application process in which students or the club members, they are required to go to a teacher, one or two, recommending the student to join the club. It don't have to be something too structural, it's just to give some sort of like formality to be part of the club. And again, be mindful that you have to know, again, your group that you're working with, as some kids might not feel comfortable going through this approach. So this is just an example of something that you can do in terms of structure. Rella, do you want to add to that point?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we're offering up this suggestion of having youth apply to join the service club, because a couple of clubs in the New York City area and New Jersey have had issues with consistency. They're not, club members are signing up, but they're not attending meetings regularly. Mm-hmm. And one way that they try to mitigate that issue is by having a more formal process to join the club. However, the application process, again, being mindful of what Dirana said, might deter people from applying, but everyone who generally applies for the service club will get accepted. But again, this is just a way to really push that this is a commitment that you're doing. There's a process to join, and that it's serious business.
Definitely. And again, time commitment. When you have clear expectations and you share it with them, you share with them what you're expecting from them, so there are no surprises. The second component of this is team building, and just as the motto that we have, learn, act, and reflect, we also want the club members to feel included in the process, in terms of, like, it's not just coming and do the service project, but also building a team. And for that, we recommend to have an icebreaker whenever you start your projects, even before or during your club meetings. Even before having any kind of conversation, we recommend to have an icebreaker. So, for example, if you have new club members, they can learn each other's names, interests, why are they joining this club, so they can create a sense of why they are together particularly in this club. Also, we recommend to create committees of specialties. And how you do that? Through icebreakers, to creating conversation, because once you recognize what each person can offer, for example, you have kids that are more creative, or they like to draw, or they are the ones that like to go out in the community and ask for support from businesses or organizations. So you can create little groups of people specific for a specific task. So that creates a sense of commitment and that they are part of the service project and the club. And also, it helps to practice problem solving and trust building activities to improve working relationships. As everyone has some sort of awareness of what each person can offer, there are not surprises or over expectations about what can the person do. So it's very important to have a very clear idea of what the person is bringing to the table. And again, these are examples of what we see can work within the club, but you are the experts on working with their members. So if there are other activities or skills that you might suggest, we are very open to the conversation as well.
Great. So Jenna is going to share with us one of our team building activities that we do.
So this activity is called the Blind Trust Walk activity, and it's a great activity to get your club members to think about communication and what strategies work and what strategies don't work for them. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your club into pairs, and each pair has a blindfold. And then one person is blindfolded and the other person leads them through either a classroom or a field. And this is a really good activity because you're learning about what you are good at, what strategies for communication you can do, what works best for you, but it also teaches you about other people's strategies and what works best for them. But just make sure that before the activities start that you have a discussion about safe spaces. So maybe somebody doesn't want to be touched and they work better with verbal communications. Just make sure the club members are talking about that. That way the activity is helpful and fun and everybody is learning as much as they can.
Great. Thank you, Jenna.
And then?
And these are some questions that you can go over after the activity is done. Maybe what was easier, leading or following. This is good to know when you're doing service. Maybe you want to take a leader role. Maybe you want to take a following role. What worked to make the activity successful? What did it teach you about trust and communication? What did you learn about differences in what other people need to know as well as yourself? And how can this activity help you with your future service projects?
Definitely. Thank you, Jenna, for sharing the activity, the Blind Trust Walk. And again, these activities and the ones that we are sharing today, they are part of our goalie training. That if you have more questions, you can definitely email, and also on the chat box, we can give you more details afterwards. So again, that's an example of how to build in trust. But we also have there are other activities that you can also implement to create a sense of trust within your club. So now that we're talking about trust, it's a good segue to go into safe spaces and parental support. So I'm a big advocate for safe spaces because I feel like that's a very important, how you create an environment where people feel committed and also supported to bring something to the table. So how you create a safe space. So again, we need to be very aware of the diversity of our club members, and the best way of them to feel welcome and also feel open to talk and share their ideas is by creating a safe space. So we recommend you to prep your group to be open to different views and opinions. Also, it's important to recognize the vulnerability and resiliency of children and youth. And what that looks like is to be open up at what kind of answers they might have or questions, and it's important not to judge them. It's important to understand where they're coming from and what they're trying to say. And also how you define together the meaning of a safe space and how to create it. What might look like a safe space for an LGBTQ group might be completely different from elementary school children or high school students. So it's very important to have that conversation of what that looks like. So for example, if you're working with elementary kids, it might be too much to go into details what a safe space is, but you can have an activity in which they can all come together on a piece of paper and draw their hands as a symbol of commitment to work together in the group, as a symbol of respect, as a symbol of collaboration. And you can hang it on your classroom or whenever you have your meetings. So always you can refer to that as a symbol of your club of commitment and respect for each other, and the symbol of your safe space. Or, for example, when you're working with high school students, these are sort of agreements that you can come up among with the group. And an agreement that I personally use when I'm working with teens is like the ouch and oops. For example, if a person is saying something that hurts someone else, the person can say ouch, it hurts, ouch. And then the person that said the same, and they can say oops. And that's a way of giving the two people time to clarify the statement and also come back and understand each other. So these are two very simple examples of like how you create safe spaces. But again, you need to also get to know your group. Also, it's important to respond to when your youth can find all this close important information. Because if they come to you, that means that they trust you. And although you might not have the skill to completely respond at the moment, it's important to refer them to someone that can provide the services. Because again, if a child comes to you or a youth and disclose information, that means that they trust you. And the other club members will see that action and how you responded to them. And that will build even more trust among your group and to you as a facilitator. Then the second portion of this is the parental support. And just as the kids and the youth that you're going to be working with, the parents will be also very diverse in terms of their time, cultural and economic background, also working schedules. Some parents, they work over the evening, weekends. So it's going to be as well very diverse. So be very intentional how you initiate and maintain communication with the parents. Also, have a flexible expectations in terms of their contribution, how much they can contribute, maybe an hour or maybe once a month or maybe one project over 6 months they can contribute to the club. And also invite them to participate on the service project, not necessarily think, oh, they're not going to have time. So one way of maintaining an open communication with them is by using listservs. You can create a group text. WhatsApp is very popular these days. You have Facebook. Also have paper flyers that you can put inside of the book bags or in the notebooks. Also create a calendar invite. Google is really good in terms of creating like an event and invite people. And also talking at the drop-off and pick-up. That's a really, we have Sarah, she suggested that as a parent as well. That is a good way to, to get in touch with the parents and share what's happening, what is coming up, and if they can contribute to the service project that you're organizing with your kids and youth.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so we talked again about recruitment. Zairanis just went over how to create a really strong sense of commitment amongst a diverse group of people. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is project planning and management. So a lot of the issues that we heard were challenges for our club facilitators when working with a large group of people is everyone has wonderful ideas that they all want to accomplish. They want to work on education, on health care, on animal welfare, on the environment, all in the span of 6 weeks. So, so we want to talk about like how do you come up with projects? What do you need to be mindful of when you're developing these different things? How to help focus in on their ideas, and how to delegate tasks and responsibilities so that the facilitators aren't doing all of the work. So Sarah's going to start off by talking about what to be mindful of.
Great. Thanks, Rella. So I think as these guys have really aptly already shared a lot of about working with diverse groups of youth is number one about helping young people talk about and understand their difference, and then about providing options, right? And that's especially true when planning and facilitating service projects. And the point is that you never know who's in your club, or you might know, but the kids might not even know the diversity of experiences or perspectives that the other young people come from. And that just means that it's important to be really flexible and provide opportunities to ensure that young people feel included and non-stigmatized. So, for example, if you're proposing a service project that requires members to bring things from home, like food or for money, these are some tips that you can follow to make sure that young people feel included. So, for example, assigning responsibilities and providing options for participation. So let's say you're doing a food drive and you're asking members of the club to donate. You might want to think about providing donation as one of the responsibilities or ways to participate, as well as, for example, boxing and sorting the donations and bringing the donations to the food shelter. Essentially, we want to make sure that donation or something that requires young people to bring something from home is not the only way to participate or held up as the most important, so that it doesn't stigmatize a young person who can't participate in that way. And then the second is about really avoiding stigmatization. So imagine you have a food drive and everyone is bringing their donations at the same time in the same room. And imagine you're the kid who can't bring anything from home. That would not feel so good for you. So when you're asking kids to bring things in from home, whether it be money or food or pencils and school supplies, really make sure that those collection boxes or bins are out in places like hallways or places where young people can anonymously drop in what they have, so it's not clear to the other students or young people who can't bring in those things. So you always just want to think about, let's make sure that everyone has a way to participate, and let's not stigmatize young people who can't bring things in from home. And then the third one is actually a tip that came from Barbara Stein, who's one of our club facilitators out in Brooklyn. And it's really thinking about just thinking small. So let's say you're doing a fundraiser, and instead of asking young people to bring in $1 or $5, you might want to think about asking young people to bring in a penny, which is something most of us could find on the street, right? You look down and you see pennies everywhere, and that way everyone can participate. And so these are just a few tips to really help you think through how to engage a diverse group of young people from a socioeconomic perspective in lots of different types of service.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. So we're going to now talk about focusing in on ideas through a We Wish activity. This is one that we created during our practice, but we're going to actually go through it with you together.
Okay, so for our club, we wish that everyone had a great education, but that's a little broad. So we're going to try to narrow that down. Who is the we that is in that statement? Who do we wish had that great education, guys?
So from our previous conversation, we were thinking about kids, teenagers, schools, girls, adults, and seniors. And also you mentioned something about...
I was thinking that if we wanted to have everyone have a great education, I would want to make sure we include people that don't have access to school. So it could be people in remote areas. It could also be people in prisons. If we want to even do it in hospitals for people who are staying there and out of school for long periods of time.
And what we said for what we mean for a great education is access to quality education, know how to read and write. And then our second point was where. Where in the world do we want this to happen? We said all over, but maybe a more narrow approach could be libraries, schools, community centers, public schools. Our deadline was sometime in March.
Although we wanted it now.
Yes, we wanted it today.
So when thinking about our service project, clearly now, or with any of the questions, everyone, every place, all the time. Again, this activity is meant to help narrow down how you can approach and tackle your own service projects.
And how do we want this goal to happen?
So we said that narrowing it down, we want to provide reading and writing courses, getting people excited about books. So now we're going to show you our whole We Wish statement.
That looks similar to a goal that we have about how we want to accomplish giving people a great education.
So our We Wish statement is we wish that everybody in our school would get excited about reading by having twice a month reading workshops during the fall and spring semesters. Maybe you can think about different themes for each workshop to get kids really excited about reading.
Yeah, so my nephew is really into Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So having a Diary of a Wimpy Kid themed day would be really ideal for his school and his population. Also, you could do a Star Wars theme,
Dr.
Seuss, Hungry Hungry Caterpillar theme day. So these are just ways you can brainstorm, but also, again, focus in on what you want to do if you have lots of youth who want to do lots of different ideas. And one way to narrow it even further down is if you have different groups of students who are focused in on different themes, like one can do a We Wish statement on, again, education, or on healthcare, or on animal welfare, and then after everyone creates their We Wish statement, you can democratically vote on which one you want to tackle with your first project.
Awesome. So after you have your focus and you have identified what kind of service project you want to work with your club, now it's time to project planning. So we have an activity that we want to share with you on how you can approach to do, how to plan your project. So as you can see, we're going to pretend that we are celebrating a birthday party for our special guest, Jenna, today. Her birthday is going to be December 2nd. So your task is to organize the following tasks based on what needs to get done first. Also, as you can see, we have a chart in which we have tasks, who is responsible, and also deadlines. And as you can see, this is a good visual for adults And I can really see it very helpful for working with kids and also teenagers because you have clear expectations of what needs to get done, who is responsible for, and also at deadline. So, Roella, what do you think needs to get done first?
I think we need to set a date for the event.
Okay. Jenna?
I think the next thing would be to invite the guests.
So they already seen this PowerPoint, so maybe the questions might be really on point. So let's see which are the answers. So again, we're celebrating a birthday party for Jenna, December 2nd. So we set a date. That's the first step. Then we want to reserve a venue. Jenna said something else. Then we want to invite our guests. Then we want to plan the menu. We need to find entertainment. How we're going to have the fun in the party. And then we want to schedule the activities. So as you can see, now we have everything we need to have a very fun, happy birthday party for Jenna. So as you can see, this is a very nice, visual, engaging activity to do it with your kids and your youth, also to have it on your classroom. And there's also another way that you can do this is by having post-its. And you can have like a line, whatever you have currently working on, you can have it on top of the line, and whatever has been done already, you can put it at the bottom. And again, it's visual. It has dates, deadlines, and also who is in charge of it. And it's clear in setting expectations and what needs to get done.
Yeah, and I would definitely recommend as you're putting different tasks on the Post-it notes, keep them simple and then have the person who is responsible for that task really break down what that means and what that looks like.
Definitely. And also it allows you time to see where you are in the process. If you need more time to either, let's say, reserve the venue, maybe you haven't done that, so maybe you have to push the deadline, and working with your group and your members to identify how to troubleshoot something like that. So this concludes our project planning activity. So again, from a generational perspective, we see youth engagement and having a strong commitment to your club is by looking into recruitment, commitment, project management, all those different components. They emphasize the need for a strong engagement within your club members and also the school that you're working with, the organizations that you're working with, and there are different strategies that you can take to create that strong engagement. Awesome. So, what's coming up? So we have Family Volunteer Day, November 19th. And again, this is a great opportunity to engage parents based on the conversation that we had before. And Family Volunteer Day is a day of service that celebrates the power of families who work together to support their communities and neighborhood. Roella is going to show you how the website looks like and what kind of information you have access to.
Yeah, so GenerationOn made a microsite to help with Family Volunteer Day. Here you'll find lots of resources, ideas, and ways you can share what you're up to on Family Volunteer Day. Again, it is November 19th. So on this website, you'll have the opportunity to learn about what Family Volunteer Day is. You can register and share what you're planning on doing. You can also find different projects as well as volunteer opportunities. So you can enter either your zip code here to find events that are happening on Family Volunteer Day that you can join, or you can click on this and find ready-made project guides that will help, that include families that can all do together. And then you can also come back up here and share your story once you've completed your service project for a chance to win a night out with your family or a $500 gift card to help get a jump start on holiday shopping, which is such a wonderful treat. And lastly, you can read all about what families across the country have been doing in relation to Family Volunteer Day on our story wall. So just a really great website to help you get all of your families involved and engaged for this special day of service.
Definitely. Thank you, Rella, for sharing the website. And also, we want to continue providing you with the tools and resources you need to create very meaningful projects for your youth and kids. So our next webinar will be empowering a diverse group of volunteers. And in this webinar, we will be discussing the best practices on delegating responsibilities to your club members and also supporting youth to take ownership of their service projects. We will be sharing the registration link through our website page and also our Facebook page. The webinar will be facilitated on November 18th from 1 to 2. And again, all our webinars are available in our website and Facebook page. They are being recorded right now, so if you need to go back to the information that we just shared today, you have to go into the video. Okay, thank you so much for your time. So this is the time for concerns, feedback as well.
We'll also be collecting feedback with the closeout email that gets sent out. We have a short survey monkey that we just have a couple of brief questions to make sure that the information we're sharing is most relevant and valuable for everyone. So yeah, if you don't have any questions, we really appreciate you joining. And we hope to talk to you soon.